Would you let your guy sleep with other women to keep the relationship? If you don't know me, my name is Andrea and I'm a love and relationship coach. Now this topic has come up quite often with my clients. You know, it's a serious issue, and a lot of women I know struggle with the idea of a man that they feel love for sleeping with other women, and it's an issue that comes up. In fact, I've interviewed quite a lot of men around sex and relationships and what it means for them to commit for the long term and their process. And that's been really interesting. In fact, I interviewed a man recently who's been married for around 15 years and has had around 8 affairs, and that was enlightening, him explaining the reasons why he did what he did. But this is about you knowing what's going on, you having a discussion about this. Maybe you've brought it up or he's brought it up. And you know, this is a really big issue, and I'll create another video that'll go more in depth, but I wanted to bring this up. I wanted to create a discussion about it because maybe it's you. Maybe you've been in a very long relationship, perhaps you're married, perhaps you have children with him. Maybe you've got to the stage where the relationship is a little bit stale. You might be bored with each other. Perhaps you're not communicating the same way that you used to. Maybe you feel irritated by each other more than wanting to connect. The sex has gone. It's just not the same anymore. In a modern world, we're so busy. We have so many distractions, so many things to think about. If you're a mum especially, your mind is going to be all over the place, and if you're a working mum, even more so. And having sex might be the last thing on your mind. And I've had clients who said to me that it feels like a chore to them, and I wouldn't want that for you, and they don't want it for themselves. And that's a lot to do with compatibility, and we're talking about a long-term relationship, and this issue has come up, and you're considering, as the woman, is this something that I could be okay with? Maybe you don't want to have sex with him anymore. Maybe you have health issues and sex has stopped and he still wants to have sex, and you're wondering what to do. So where you're at in the relationship, is there unconditional love there? Is there a lot of love? Is there a lot of trust? Has there been times where either of you have had extramarital affairs? These are all things to consider. But we're talking about that sex is not happening anymore. You're not communicating well, but you still want to remain together, perhaps for the sake of the children, for example, or out of love. So some things I want you to consider, possible consequences. That he could meet somebody else, and that could mean the end of the relationship that you have. He may fall in love with the other woman. See, I don't know his reasons. Perhaps he's not feeling an emotional connection with you anymore, but he doesn't want to leave. Maybe for him, he just wants sex with other women. And for him, it is just sex. It doesn't mean anything more than that. And I know a lot of women struggle with the idea of, how can it just be sex? You know, I really struggled with this many years ago, and I used the work of Byron Katie, and I have an interview with Byron Katie. It's a fantastic interview, which helped me work through some of these issues, because I used to be gripped by fear at the idea of a man even looking at another woman, never mind me being with him and having him also having sex with other women. So I understand that this is a real serious issue, and I want you to take it seriously, which of course I know you're doing. So yeah, the possible consequences is that he may fall in love with another woman and end up leaving you. The possible consequences for you, and if it's something that you yourself don't want to do, you don't want to sleep with anybody else, that you may feel insecure. It can really bring up those issues. It could bring up issues of jealousy, because maybe you're in a quite normal, regular relationship, nothing really to worry about. And then if you're sleeping with other women, all of a sudden you're starting to feel really angry and resentful and jealous and insecure, which can throw the relationship off. So really consider that. It's not for everyone, you know, some people have open relationships, but you know yourself. Are you the type of woman that could be okay with this? Or will it bring up your issues around jealousy, feeling of insecure, and the real potential of him falling in love with another woman and potentially leaving you? So if this is on the table, obviously it's something that you need to discuss. And you know, a simple thing like terms and conditions, we all understand what terms and conditions are. So you need to discuss what's okay and what isn't okay. For example, some women I've interviewed, they said, I'm okay with you doing this, but, and they've given their conditions. I'll give you a few examples. They say, I don't want you to talk about her or them with me. That's just off the table. Or you only do it when you're on a business trip. I don't want you talking to her when you're with me on the phone. You know, simple things like that, that she can feel respected and he can be respectful of her and her feelings. So make sure that you have this discussion, a serious discussion, and really have it laid out. Really think about it. Really put on the table what you feel okay with and what not, and also being aware that you can change your mind, because sometimes we think we make decisions and the consequences of decisions, obviously, but sometimes we think, well, I've made that decision now, it has to be this way. No. What I want to say to you that if something is not okay with you, you can always have a discussion as well. But really take this seriously, which I know that you're doing. So that was talking about terms and conditions and having boundaries. And decide what's okay for you. And this has been a serious topic, and it is a serious topic, and I want you to consider everything that I've said, and just to briefly summarize is find out where you are at in this relationship. Are you the type of person who feels insecure, who suffers from jealousy, that couldn't handle that happening? Handle the idea of him and acting on sleeping with other women. So you need to know yourself. Also, if it's something you're considering about having a discussion and having your terms and conditions, your boundaries, making it clear what is and isn't okay with you, and also knowing that you can change your mind and have a discussion about that, because you don't know how it's going to be for you. So if it's a decision you make, you'll know in that moment, in the experience of how it really is. And some people say that it might be a better decision rather than having cheat on you, rather than having lies, but that's another topic, that's another video. So for now, if it's something that you're struggling with and you need some support and help, and you know, sometimes we need to have someone from the outside to talk to give us perspective, to help you figure things out, because this is about your relationship here. And if you're married and you have children, you know, this is a very serious thing to consider. So I'm here for you, and I want you to, you know, feel love for yourself and do things that feel good for you, and making decisions that are right for you. So really thank you for watching. I know this was quite serious, but I wanted to just touch on this subject, just to bring it up, because it's something that's been coming up with some of my clients recently. So I hope that's helped, and really thank you for watching. I wish you well, and I want you to stay in love.